Open almost any photo app today, and you'll find a dozen ways to age your pictures. We add heavy grain and artificial light leaks, dialing up the saturation to mimic a very specific kind of vintage look. This aesthetic is driving the popularity of synthwave fashion, brands built on selling the neon-drenched, high-contrast cool that defined 1980s visual culture. But before 1981, pop music lived almost entirely in the ears. It was an auditory experience, defined by studio recordings and radio airplay, with the visual element of the industry trailing far behind the sound. Our current obsession with these retro filters is more than a simple desire for a vibe. We are chasing the shadow of a manufactured technological shift in how media was made. On August 1, 1981, music found a 24/7 visual delivery mechanism. The television screen became the primary way for an artist to reach their audience. This platform created a vacuum for visual content. Musicians were suddenly forced to compete on image, forcing the industry to produce videos that could hold attention through a flickering cathode ray tube. To survive this new distribution channel, music had to translate into a visual medium. This sparked a race to see who could project the boldest, most distinct look. The immediate answer to MTV's demand was the power look. It was defined by sharp, bold silhouettes and absolute confidence that popped on screen. Artists like Madonna took this further by cycling through distinct, highly produced visual eras. By changing her look for every album, she maintained a constant, dominant presence on the network. Fashion photography exploded alongside the music video. Cities like London became the centers for capturing this maximalist attitude as photographers moved away from the understated styles of the 70s. Subjects were framed to look invincible and provocatively sexy. Photographers needed images that felt playful yet undeniably powerful to break through. But while the ambition for a visual revolution was there, photographers were still limited by the chemistry of the film itself. The true driver of the 80s aesthetic was the rapid development of color reversal film stock. This chart tracks Kodak's chemical progression from E1 to the breakthrough E6 process, reaching ISO 160. This enabled faster shutter speeds, capturing sharp motion without blur. E6 also produced unprecedented saturation, creating the vibrant reds, deep blacks, and electric neons that defined the era. Those neon colors weren't just an artistic choice, they were the literal, hardwired chemical features of the era's film stock. This was the moment of collision. The saturation of E6 film was a perfect match for a new media landscape that demanded imagery that would jump off a low-resolution TV screen. When E6 film captured a city like New York, it translated urban life into a hyper-saturated, glowing environment. It made a Coca-Cola billboard or a taxicab look more vivid on screen than it did in person. The definitive aesthetic was forged here, at the intersection of celebrity ambition, screen distribution, and chemical engineering. By the late 1980s, the glossy perfection of the power look began to face a cultural pushback. Postmodern photographers began using the era's high-contrast tools to capture a different reality. They pointed their cameras at raw, unvarnished scenes, focusing on the grit of city life rather than the glamour of MTV. These artists focused on themes of identity and gender, using intimate, unposed shots to reject the polished standards of the mainstream media. This visual rebellion directly paved the way for the grunge aesthetics of the 90s, proving that the photographic medium was just as capable of capturing the unfiltered truth as it was the maximalist fantasy. The 1980s changed our relationship with the image forever. It fused music, fashion, and photography into a single, inseparable culture. When we use these modern filters today, we are paying homage to that specific moment where technology and ambition collided. The shift of the 1980s set the standard for our modern visual vocabulary, cementing the idea that the way we see a story is just as vital as the story itself.